Hi friends, today we're going to talk about drawing hands. Now it's always good to have some reference photos of different hands. However, you have a wonderful reference, which is your other hand right there in front of you. So you can put it in a really cool position or in the position that you're trying to draw and use your actual hand as a reference. So what you're going to see me do here is now I'm setting up an interesting position for my hand, and I'm going to start sketching it looking at the basic shapes, right? And then also really being careful that I get all those little nooks and crannies and those little folds in the skin. So the things that will make a hand look realistic is putting those little folds like I'm drawing right now, and then also knowing where to put your fingernails and your knuckles. So those are the things that will really help make your hand look realistic. So now I'm looking down at my other finger. I'm noticing it comes out a little bit, right? A little bit past the first finger. And so I'm just using some of those basic shape techniques of trying to plan out what are the shapes I'm seeing. I'm following around the outside edge now of my hand, of that finger. And now I'm coming down to the knuckle. And so you see how I'm kind of just blocking out where all of the different shapes are going to go. I'm leaving that little bit of negative space between the middle finger and the ring finger like you see in the position my hand is in. And now I'm popping that thumb in because I noticed that the thumb actually goes on top of the ring finger. So the first thing you want to do when drawing a hand is get an outline. And then you also want to make sure you're drawing your hand the right size. So in this example, I'm trying to just draw it exactly the same size that I'm seeing it, maybe even a little bit bigger, because we tend to draw both hands and feet a lot smaller than they actually are. So in order to kind of counteract that, I'm drawing my hand a little bit larger here. It's also easier to draw it larger because you have a lot more room for the little details such as the nails and the knuckles. All right, so now I'm going to start shading. You'll notice I've grabbed a darker pencil, so I've got my 6B right here. And I'm looking very carefully at my hand, and I'm saying, where is it darker and where is it lighter? So I'm going to know that it's going to be darker on the inside, and those fingers that are further away are obviously going to be darker than the ones on the top. So I'm starting with my pinky finger, and I'm kind of shading around the lines I've already drawn. And then I'm adding a second shade on the finger above it a little bit. And then you'll see I'm going to blend them. So notice I'm not putting pencil everywhere. I want to save a little bit of a highlight or a definite area that separates both fingers so they don't end up looking like they're attached. And I'm also using the technique of putting shading on either side of the finger and then blending it towards the center of the finger. And what that'll do is that'll help keep your finger looking round and realistic because fingers tend to be darker on either side and a bit lighter in the middle. So now that I've kind of blended that, I'm going to come in and shade my middle finger here, which actually my hand has changed position a little bit since I've drawn it, but that's okay. And I'm just going to add some shadow under there and blend that as well. So When you're drawing hands, you're normally going to draw hands that go along with a person's body. And it's really important that you know how to size the hands. And so the size of a hand is based on the size of whatever head you've drawn for your person or your character. And your hand is about 3/4 the size of a head. So you'll notice here I've got the head on the right, and I've split it in half and then into a 3/4 section. And now here on the left, I'm drawing a hand that would be the accurate size for a head that is that big. Now, if you know you're going to be drawing a lot of hands, say for an AP art portfolio, and you're going to be doing a lot of characters with a lot of different positions of hands, a really good way to practice drawing hands is to find some reference photos, of course, but also to practice hands in lots of different positions. When artists are practicing to learn how to draw something well, they will draw lots of different versions of the same thing, whether it be hands, feet, facial features, etc., all on the same paper. And that is called doing a study of, for example, hands in this case, where you're going to show lots of different angles and lots of different perspectives that you might draw hands from. And really, the only way to ever get good at any sort of drawing is just to practice, do lots of different versions of it, be happy with not always getting it correct, and just trying your best.